Good morning, Morio. Oh, wait a minute. That is not my intro. I do not have one. This is the first episode of the podcast. I'm your host, Shadow here, and we are joined with AuroraBerry. Aurora, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm hanging in here.
You're hanging in here. That is
Yeah.
always a positive. So, you want to give like the listeners a what's it called? Like an introduction of yourself, like what do you do? Who are you? I don't know. Your
I am
address? No, I'm kidding.
I am AuroraBerry. I am a content creator here on YouTube. I do a whole lot of other things, but you're not here for that. Um, I do a
That's
bunch of
true.
challenge runs. That's mainly all I do. Um, you may know me from my Chaos Blade series, which when not my most popular video, it is probably one of my most iconic to my channel. At least I think it is. So if you haven't seen me before, go watch those three videos because they're good.
That is true.
Shameless
And
self promotion.
if I can remember, I'll put it in the description, but I have a terrible memory, so we'll have to see about that. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the one and only Dark Souls 3.
Hate that game.
I have we all hate this game. Right.
Like I don't enjoy Dark Souls. I
So
just do it because it makes money. I'm kidding.
that is true. That way. I'm also drinking this water. I think I burnt myself eating that chicken Alfredo. But anyways, Dark Souls 3. I kind of have some like best areas, worst areas type of questions,
Yeah.
and then I have some other things as well. It's primarily just a lot of questions about what do you like, what you don't like,
Okay.
and everything in between. So the first question I got for you is what is your favorite area of Dark Souls 3? And it could be anything in the entire game.
Okay. Before let me do one last part of the introduction. I am a very big criticizer of the Dark Souls games. So everyone watching, I will if you I like them all, right? But I point out their flaws a lot. So be warned,
Very
take
honest.
everything I say with a little bit of salt because I am probably a little bit more biased. I try not to be, but I probably am. But also know I'm extremely correct. So my worst area,
True.
the worst area, honestly, probably the fucking swamp. I hate the swamp. I hate the enemies there. I hate the swamp. It's just it sucks.
That is pretty true. I did say best, but we'll go with
You
worst
said
instead. We'll
best.
start with
Shit.
worst.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah,
Whatever. It is the
we'll just
worst.
we'll go to worst. We'll
All
go to
right.
worst first.
Yes.
You said that's Farron Swamp,
Yeah,
Farron
the
Keep.
the Farron
So what's
Swamp,
that called?
the lower fucking part of it, where you can't walk.
Yeah,
The enemies are always up your ass.
that is true. Now, personally with me, how I be able to tackle this, whether it be through a new playthrough or an old one, I always have quick step,
I do
and
too.
if you follow a straight path, you can get two of the bonfires, and then you use a homeward bone and go back to the third one, and then you can just bolt
Yeah,
towards the
I have
door.
like a little I
Um,
have like a route I use, but it doesn't like change the fact that I still
yeah,
don't like it.
100%. Yeah, especially like they just added the frogs for some reason. They're like, yeah, let's make it
They
worse.
also killed off my
We
mushroom
can't run.
friends. Their corpses are in the back part, and I don't like that.
That is true. Rest in
I
peace.
miss little mushroom
Personally,
child.
that is very true. Personally, I do not like Ethereal Dungeon, the one with all the
Oh,
jailers.
I hate that area too, but it's
Because
not as bad. It's easier to run through at least.
yeah, like I think my only problem I have is mainly the jailers, and then if you're trying to run through and you like there's the rat tunnel and then you get
Oh,
stuck because
the
there's
rat tunnel does
thousands of
suck.
rats.
Yeah.
But besides that, it is a fast run through, but it's just a very another annoying area to go through. But it is
Yeah.
a okay area. It's
It serves its
it kind
purpose
of
of
just feels like
being a fucking annoying little area.
yeah, it kind of feels like the filler because you can just like run around and finish it pretty quickly to go to
Yeah.
the spot
It's
you're
just a
going to, which is
transitional piece,
yeah,
which
for real.
I will honestly say doesn't transition really well. Okay. There's an
Yeah, it's
underground
like, oh
city
yeah.
underneath this entire capital, this whole entire city. Okay, sure. I
And
guess
why is the one way to get there a
through a
jail?
dungeon. I don't know. Dark Souls 3 doesn't make any sense. Here's a hot take. Dark Souls 3
Eh,
level design sucks.
what?
Yeah.
All
No.
right, everyone get their pitchforks. Go.
uh, to answer the question, the actual question for best, I don't, I don't know. There's a lot of like hard like things for best. Maybe like Lothric Castle. I do like. I do like Lothric Castle a
There's
whole lot. So
That's
maybe
pretty
Lothric
cool.
Castle I think would be my favorite, but I don't know. Some of the areas are just so bland to me because you just run through them all, and that's like
Yeah.
kind of the problem. And it's all like straight lines too, so it's kind of
Yeah, for the
it's
most part.
if yeah, so it's kind of hard to like actually pick an area that I really like. I do like the Drake Heap though because it's kind of like all the callbacks to the rest of the series. But I think I like that more of as like a nostalgia bait thing than an actual like good logical area that I think is good. So
Yeah.
I'd say probably
The
Lothric Castle is my favorite.
Lothric
Not the
Castle
high
is very
yeah, not the high wall
good.
but the castle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to like my favorite area,
Mhm.
the things that I started thinking about is I think about three places in particular, but only one of them kind of like calls out in a way. So the honorable mentions would be the Ashes of Ariandel DLC because there's a lot of cool places. Probably not my like favorite area for enemies, but like looks wise, probably the Ashes of Ariandel, or after you, I think it's after you kill the Demon Prince. That area, I forgot what that was called. Um, but like those are like very cool areas as in like the locations, definitely not the gameplay. Like after you kill the twin princes doing that little hide against the archer guys, definitely not the strongest, but if we're going off of just everything in general, I might have to give it to the main part of Ethereal that you first get to after you kill Wolnir,
Yeah. It's a
because
very
like
stunning
it looks
location.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
I think
It's
like if you
it looks
played
cool.
I feel like if you played Dark Souls 3 first, it would kind of give that same like feeling that Dark Souls 1 gives you when you ride on Anor Londo. Granted, I don't think
Yeah,
it's, as well presented obviously because I'm a huge fucking criticizer and Wolnir isn't really that good of a boss. But whatever, I'll save it for later. I'll save it for later. I think it does still give off that kind of effect. So I do see where like a lot of people could like that, and I won't lie. It's a fucking impressive little eyesight.
that
Eyesight.
is
What am I
very
saying?
true. And
It's impressive to see. I don't know.
it's a, yeah.
It's an eyesight.
Yeah. At least it doesn't have like, the frogs.
Yeah.
Um, on the other side of the spectrum, we were talking about best areas. Now, what is your worst boss that you think is in Dark Souls 3?
Okay. Okay. I'll give you the. I don't know. It's so hard to choose because there's ones I hate just because I fucking hate them, but then there's ones I think is just like an actual like game developing like or game thing wise. It's like terrible. Um. First off, I think I don't know if I would say this is my least favorite, but it's one of the most frustrating ones, and it's Osiris. That instant charge is bullshit. It's terrible. Um, so I might give it to that, honestly. I hate Frida as
Yeah,
well. I I
that's a hot take right
I
there.
will say I hate Frida. I hate her second phase in most fights. It's so boring. The first phase is also just really boring too, and the strategy isn't even that like interesting. It's just behind her and like backstab her. Like the more I fight her, the more it's like okay, you're I understand your moves, but then it's just like okay, this is kind of boring. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
way
kind of
too
get
drawn
that.
out. It's way too drawn out in my opinion, and it's just not very exciting.
Yeah. I feel like if they like maybe retweaked it just a little bit, it would have um more of a meaningful way, but I think they also were trying to go for that wow factor of look, there's 3 phases now. Surprise.
Yeah, I think
Because
it's
it hasn't been done,
I think
but
it's a
they're like, oh.
precursor to what happened with Elden Ring. I think it was. Don't get me started on Elden Ring. We'll be here all night.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Osiris, the the dragon dude, the consumed king, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, the one
He's
guy who fucked Guinevere. That's canon. That's
he's
canon.
very he's such a I don't know.
He's just an
Like the
incel.
moveset's
He
very difficult. Yeah.
like I know that's
He's
not like
so
a game thing
difficult.
wise, but he's just an incel. I hate him.
He's way too maybe like unpredictable. Like you can't really read what
Yeah,
he's
it's.
gonna
I
do.
mean, you can do it in most cases. I because I fought him when I know I keep calling back to this in Chaos Blade 3, and this is where I got to analyze a lot of the bosses like pretty heavily. And it was that Osiris, his moves are actually pretty well like telegraphed for the most part. You have enough time to
Yeah.
react. I will say though that the instant charge is so bullshit because he can feint into it from other attacks. So if you think he's doing because one of his attacks is he can bite 3 times. And instead of that second bite, he will instantly charge at you, and you can't react to it. So you just have to assume that it's like whenever he does the bite, you just have to assume he's gonna charge. Again, totally not another precursor to what would inflict Elden Ring with, but whatever.
Imagine that, but like I don't know, like Radahn.
Imagine that, but
That would make
Morgoth's like quick slash that ruins any like no hit attempt she's trying to do. Yeah, that would
yeah,
really
that
suck.
make it perfect.
Yeah.
I will say I have listed on my little notes here, honorable mention the tree. No, it's just it's the tree.
I love tree balls.
I don't know, something about it is just I guess repetitive. I mean, obviously
No,
it's
it's a
just like
gimmick fight. I don't
weak point.
I don't like gimmick
Yeah,
fights in Souls games. I'm again big criticizer of those.
yeah, I do understand. But I think I I haven't played in a while, but I'm pretty sure every single time that you go into a new game, you also have to kill the tree
Yeah,
again to get the kiln again.
yeah, you
So that's
do.
just like, oh, I have to go and kill this guy again.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
boring.
uh, yeah, it very just eh. Um, but the opposite of boring is good. So what are we thinking about the best boss or
The best
bosses?
boss.
Uh,
Okay, I'll give a few off because I have a few that I think are really good fights in Dark Souls 3. As much as I criticize Dark Souls 3 and like the later games, I will not lie. Dark Souls 3 has some of my favorite boss fights because they were so well executed. Gale and Midir. Once you learn those fights, it is such a satisfying fight. Even on challenge runs, just being able to like dance between them, it's so nice. Um, Twin Princes too. Twin Princes is also another good fight. Um, and in fact, I want to go back actually, if you don't mind, to worst boss. I forgot to mention Soul of Cinder is also the worst boss in Dark Souls 3.
yeah,
Sorry, I forgot to
I agree.
I
I
forgot to
agree.
mention that it is the worst boss. I don't know why I forgot that. I think the rage for him blinded me for a second and made me forget about him.
I think
Um,
the only good thing I like about him is the second phase of where he starts hitting that run.
the only thing
That's
good
like the
about
best
him, the
part.
only good thing about him is his death animation because I like killing him because
Oh
he's an
yeah, that
asshole.
too.
But back on
That
best
is
bosses,
also true.
those three would probably be at the contenders for my best bosses. Um, God, I'm forgetting.
Those are
I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, I'm remembering a lot of bad bosses like Gravetender and Half Life. Like, how did I forget about these fucking pieces of shit? I don't know. I'm okay.
we love Half-Life here. Nah.
I am a number one
Um,
Half Life stan. But no, yeah. To finalize that question, Gale, Midir, and Twin Princes are probably my favorite fights. Yeah.
those those are some pretty good picks. Personally, I have Abyss Watchers down.
I personally
because
don't like them, but I understand why a lot of people do. I'm just it's skill issue. It's a skill issue. I won't lie, it's a skill issue
uh
there.
I think the cutscene and just the overall music, I really like the music of Abyss Watchers probably more than some of the other soundtracks, which is
It's
pretty
also a really
surprising.
nice arena too. I'll give it that. I like the
Yeah,
theme of the arena being on the corpses of the others. I think that's really sick.
yeah, and like I don't know, something about that just resonates. And then for another favorite boss, I have just Lothric, preferably without the other dude. So
Okay, that's fair.
so
I can see why a lot of people
first
don't like
phase.
Lorian, but
Yeah, first phase it has like a flow to it, but then the second phase you just get like a crystal soul spear or whatever to the face, like
yeah,
while
I
you're
will
just
say
trying
like
to
the
heal or something.
projectile attack is or like the multiple projectiles. I would say those are kind of like they do kind of throw off the flow, but I don't think it's like it's still an S tier fight regardless.
Yeah,
Like it's not
I
like
do
I look
agree.
over and I look at the rest of the cast. It's like yeah, of course when you're compared up against fucking I don't know a guy with a stick and a few wolves. Obviously, the guy with a flaming fire sword and teleports around is gonna be cooler.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But no, he's just a really good fight in
Um,
general.
yeah, even with Lorien, I'd still give it like a higher score because like it's still like a I don't know, one of those grand things.
I
It's
think
like
it's I yeah it's like I think it's a theme wise. I've talked about some of my videos. Yeah, go watch that one. Uh, I talked about it. It's I think I think in total like the point when you get to the twin princes is like the big moment in Dark Souls 3. Like how it is in Dark Souls 1 and 2, getting to the kiln and then getting to the kiln again. Um, the Throne of One or whatever. But it's that same like moment I feel, and then it's like oh the Soul Cinder exists, cool. But I think Lorien and Lothric being the final boss was is like really cool. I honestly wish they like had more health too, because it's like they are kind of squishy when you get to when you're like kind of not like maximizing DPS, but when you have like a good build going, it's like damn I gotta melt this guy.
yeah, I definitely feel that. Where didn't I lost my questions? Right, I was looking at my channel to figure out the answer to this. Is what is the highest level character that you have in Dark Souls 3?
I couldn't tell you. It's in like the 400s probably. I don't have it anymore.
Ye-
I delete my characters pretty regularly. And
That is
and the character I would have had that on would be my Xbox, and I don't have the Xbox account anymore. I made a new one. Um,
that is
and along
sad.
with it, I lost my Dark Souls saves. Granted, I didn't really have an attachment to them. Um, but yeah, it's probably in the 400s. I do have a max level character on Dark Souls 1, however, like level 300 on Dark Souls 2. So
Um,
I play games a lot. COVID was a
yeah.
very big moment in my life for Dark Souls.
So I don't I don't remember exactly where it is, and I also looked it up and I couldn't even find my channel, so that's a good fun sign. But anyways, uh I think the highest level, if I'm just going off of memory, maybe 530, 550-ish. And most of those this is also like around the COVID times
Mm-hmm.
of me and my friend, we spent about 7 hours um duping. So
I got my
we
friend
we
banned doing tubing.
I'm very surprised we didn't. We spent so long. We first did the Sigurd one, and then we did like the Soul of a Great Champion.
I'm
And
not. I
so
don't
my
know that. I
friend,
don't know what the secret one is.
you basically
Mm.
have to
Are
have
you talking about the
Sigurd
one
in.
where it's like he's in the dungeon, you get to kill him and like go back and forth or whatever to get the slab to reset?
Yeah,
Okay, no, I know that one
yeah.
then. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You just gotta go far.
Yeah, I know the glitch
Uh,
you're talking about.
but yeah, my friend, he had all the Titanite slabs, and I did the one with all the souls, and I leveled them up, and then after a while, like I think we spent like 30 minutes just giving me more and more souls, and I only like leveled up like 10 times.
Yeah.
So like the only like plausible way for me to get levels is I had to go through New Game Plus and get the 5 free levels from the old man. That's the
Yeah.
one way how I could like go further.
That's
But
how
yeah, I
you're gonna
haven't touched
get.
that.
That's how you're gonna level up in Dark Souls 3 once you get into like those 200 plus levels or whatever, 300 plus.
100%,
You
yeah.
just need to use the old man, Yol. That's his name.
Oh, Yol, yeah. All right, this is a great question of do you let the fire die or kindle the flame?
I go back and forth honestly in my viewpoints. The more like it depends how like deep I am into Dark Souls lore that month. Because sometimes we'll be like, I don't really give a shit, but then like a few months will go by. I'm like, I love this game. I love everything about it. Yeah. So it kind of depends because because it's like a huge morality standpoint. Because if you let the flame
True.
die, the world ends. That is shown in the Ring City DLC. That is the end of the world, and that is when the flame is dead, or like right about to die. But then
That
again,
is true.
if you do you link the flame and let the cycle of hatred and fear of the dark continue? I mean, do you know want everyone to die, or are you racist towards humans? That's it. That's literally
That's
Dark Souls. Do you want everyone to die, or do you just really hate humans and are racist towards them?
yeah, it sounds about right. Um, Personally, I don't really I don't choose either of them, surprisingly.
Yeah,
The
honestly, that's
ending
not
that
like a
I
bad thing.
the ending that I usually go for, mainly because I do kind of find it a little bit humorous, is kill the firekeeper.
I don't even
It's
remember what the point of those
because
endings
like
are. I'm gonna be honest with you. I
I
can't like remember
yeah,
what the other endings are because it's just like this. I don't know. It doesn't matter. None of them are canon.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Something about like the firekeeper just dying. I just like, well,
Yeah.
okay, the end. But do you have all right, next question. Do you have any goofy experiences, whether it being PvP or PvE, like related? So it could be like a goofy
I have a
time in Dark
few.
Souls 3.
It happened not too long ago. It happened a
What?
few, maybe like a year and a half ago now, something like that. It was. I don't know about that. It was a hot minute ago. And I remember it was a weird glitch. I've never had it happen before. I mean, it's not that interesting, or whatever. But Dancer went second phase, and she like didn't pull out her second sword, so it was just invisible. But it still like had a hitbox and everything. So that was
That sounds like
wild.
hell.
Um, I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot of like. Again, I have a very bad memory in general, and a lot of the time I
Me.
played Dark Souls 3 and had like online experiences and stuff were like back in COVID when I kind of forgot everything I have or forgot all my
True.
memories. So it's kind of hard to say. Um, I mean, I just had a lot of time playing with my friends in Dark Souls 3. I mean, we'd host fight clubs and whatnot. Um, I mean, that's really. I mean, just having fun playing Dark Souls. Yeah.
That's the vibe.
Yeah.
Usually it'd be like that. Um,
I'm the most exciting
Yeah,
guest you're gonna get on this show.
I trust me. I'll pull like a random guy from like the side of the street, said, "Hey, have you ever played Dark Souls?" And they're just like, "What are you talking about?" Um, I think the goofiest experience I've had, is I know how to do. I don't know if you know about the Gale crossbow glitch,
Yeah, I do love that.
but
I do remember I used to mess around with the bow glitch in Dark Souls 3. That was really fun.
I absolutely like when me and my friends like, for example, I had like a friend who wasn't too good. Well, they're okay, but we had like all the phantoms there and like we're just chilling and then if anybody invaded, I would set that up and then the host would hide behind me and they would come and turn the corner and just die because they can't outpoise nothing can stop you from my death of Ray.
I mean, either way, even if you can push through it, you're still gonna be taking a full force of a barrage of arrows to you. So,
Yeah, I think
like,
it's like 5,000 damage ish.
yeah, I have another a glitch I still like use whenever I feel like it, and I feel like having fun. Is the buff unwhoppable buff weapons buff or glitch? I mean. It uses the
Mm.
bow as well. I can't really describe it because I don't remember how to do it like off the top of my head. It's been a second, but you can basically like, for example, if you have the Dragon Slayer's Great Axe, the boss weapon, you can't buff boss weapons in Dark Souls 3 because it's not peak Souls 2. Um, I digress. Uh, but you can do a little glitch where you can like apply like I don't know Darkmoon Blade on it or whatnot, and the damage just shoots up. Like I got my damage like over 1,000 AR before with it.
Yeah, it
It's
sounds.
insane.
Yeah, it definitely does sound just a little bit overpowered.
Oh, it
If
totally
I do
doesn't break
say.
the entire like balance of the game or whatever.
All right, this one is a very I don't know, not controversial, but a very depends on how you look at it. A underused or underrated spell.
Um, I I don't know because the problem with this I've never actually done a mage playthrough in Dark Souls 3. 1,000 hours, never done a mage playthrough. I've like messed around with magic and whatnot, but just never really touched like magic as a whole. I'm actually just gonna Google
Maybe
the wiki real quick.
maybe that should be your next thing to do
Maybe
is
my next video will
uh
just be, hey, can I beat like the game as a wizard? Maybe I will. Maybe I will do that for fun.
yeah, you could like just start it out by being a either like a all-round spell user, or you could do sorcery, pyromancy, and
Yeah,
the other one.
I will say this. I will say, because I was thinking about this during my run. I'll say this. I think an underrated spells are basically just any spell that debuffs a boss. I think is like pretty nice to have, even if it takes like just allocate a little bit of intelligence or faith into your build, right? And you can like cast poison on a boss or cast frost damage if you don't have a frost weapon or whatnot. Like those debuffs go like really far if you're struggling with a boss. I feel.
That is true.
I will. I'm a pretty like
Um,
firm like use debuffs if you're having trouble.
yeah, you can't go wrong with the uh,
No.
plenty of debuffs.
I think people use they use buffs a lot, but I feel like they lack on the debuffs up.
Yeah. Um, I think the only spell that I can think of that like you would go out of your way sometimes to use is I don't remember the name exactly, but it explodes dead like corpses of enemies.
Oh,
Um,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's very situational, but if you can like let's say we're in like undead settlement and like you just like corner all of them together and like you turn a corner and there's an invader, you pop it, all the things go off and boom.
Yeah.
they're they just don't expect the bomb to just randomly go off. Because most people don't even use it in the first place.
No,
Uh but yeah, that's very like yeah, one of those random spells, I suppose. But I feel like there's a place for every single spell, no matter where you are.
I mean, honestly, yeah, you can. I mean, if challenge runs have shown us anything, you can use any spell in most situations. Granted, it might not be
Yep.
good, but you can use it,
You yeah.
and that's what matters.
Um
That's what we're all about here on the show.
that is very true.
This is my show now. I'm
Um
taking over.
um man.
Back next
All
week,
right.
I'll be interviewing Splunker. No.
Next up, anyways, what was your first Souls game? And
uh,
what called and like I'm not exactly okay, what was your first one
and why did I
and
play it?
why
Is it
and yeah, and why?
okay? I have a very clear answer for this, very short and sweet. I was around. It was like around the end of April, right? I was a freshman in high school, about to graduate, and what I ended up doing was I picked up or maybe it was in the end of March. Either way, it was around that time, and I was like, okay, I'm out. COVID's happening and whatnot. I can't do anything. I heard Dark Souls is really hard. I want to play Dark Souls. I want to see what it's all about. I've seen it everywhere. I want to try it for myself. So I buy Dark Souls on Amazon for my Xbox. It's here the next day or 2 days later, and I play it, and it was from there. That's really it. I was like, seems hard. I want to try it out, see how hard it really is. I loved it.
That yeah, I feel like that's pretty common, surprisingly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Like, for me, what?
no,
What?
sorry, continue. I'll tell this next. I think it's still funny.
Um, for me, when I first saw it, I was a little youngin. I think I was in like the sixth grade, maybe even younger. So I
Jesus.
could tell I the first time I saw it, was about that time, and now I'm graduated. I feel ancient.
I think I
But the
fucking
first
feel.
time I
I
the
turned
first
20 in 4 days.
oh boy, you got to put that on the calendar.
I'm not.
Uh but I was like going into my brother's room when he was still living with us, and he's like much older. He's like maybe like double my age. Ooh, that's weird to think about. Anyways, but like he was playing Dark Souls, and I was like, whoa, this is a spooky looking ghost, because this is Dark Souls 1, and they were in New Londo ruins, and I was like, huh, this is very interesting. And then I always had my eye on Dark Souls. I was like, and then I heard that it's one of, like, I looked up the hardest games in the world, and on that list was Dark Souls. I was like, well, if I beat this game, I can prove to my friends how much better I am.
The ego
So,
boost I think everyone gets after beating Dark Souls shouldn't exist. I think everyone
yeah.
who like gets like an ego boost afterwards should like just have like their left foot cut off.
But yeah, that was the reason I got really involved. I stopped it for a little bit. That was the first. Okay. Also, when I first got my PS4, I only had Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. And those were the only games that I was playing. And then I stopped playing Dark Souls 1 for a little while, and then I met somebody who was like, "Yo, dude, you should play this game." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." So every single like so often when I'd see him in like the hallways of the school, I'd be like, "Yo, I made progress." And he was like, "Cool, that's awesome." But like,
Hell yeah.
he was probably stoned, but
Hell yeah. Respect to that guy. I'm with you. I'm with him right now spiritually.
all right. The next question I have cooked up here is, do you think there should be any changes? Like, as in, fight areas, anything about
Yeah,
Dark
get rid of
Souls
the swamp
3?
and get rid of Osiris's fucking charge. Uh,
Do you have anything else besides those?
um, like if I could like remake the entire Dark Souls 3, I'd just say fucking remake the entire game. I don't like the
Yeah,
areas.
it's easy.
I don't think the areas are like well designed. I think its
Make,
linear path really just sucks because it also hurts build creation. It's not just a level design thing. It hurts the entire flow of the game because it's like in Dark Souls 2, say there's a spear I want in Earthen Peak. Well, good news for me, I can go to Earthen Peak really quickly, and I can grab that spear and then play the rest of the game with it. But in Dark Souls 3, it's like, oh, the weapon I want is in Irithyll. I ain't getting there for half the game.
that is
So
true.
it ruins like the flow of build creation. Like all your runs start the same unless you cheat, and not everyone obviously has access to cheat engine and other tools. And if they do, unlike I know you can do some stuff on like PS4 and not, it's still much harder for people to access. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, I shouldn't have to cheat in a weapon in if I want to try it for build. I mean, obviously, if it's a late game weapon, it's a late game weapon. Obviously, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying. Bottom line is, build creation is um, very basic and bland for the, honestly, probably first chunk of Dark Souls 3, probably up until Irithyll. But even then, afterwards, I mean, it's still pretty bad in my opinion.
True. I do definitely understand that. I think it should be a little bit more open world. I more like Dark Souls 1, I feel like would
Yeah.
pull it back in a way. Maybe like change the areas so it's like, oh, look, it's one area to the next and it's like not
And it's like also
completely
a lot of like
random.
the level transitions also just kind of suck too. It's like, oh, I headed
Yeah.
through this random ruins and ended up at the cathedral. It's like that's fine. It's not particularly interesting considering there's a giant door in the fucking ruins. It's like, hey, go this way. But it's like I went into a catacomb from I went from a swamp to a catacomb to a fucking city. How does that make sense? Why is the only way into the city, the only way to this bridge through a catacomb guarded by a skeleton man? What?
And before then, all of like after Abyss Watchers, just the wall shakes. Like getting to this city must be really difficult.
How did
Like
they get all the stuff to build this here? Like how? How do they get like
and
loads of materials through this catacombs? Did they have to fight Wolnir every time? Did Wolnir get a cut? He better have. I mean, that's where he gets all his drip from. I won't lie. He probably got a fucking
yeah,
fat paycheck.
that's how I got the gold bracelets.
Check out this ice fucking chosen undead. Look at that.
Um, I think personally that a couple bosses like Aldridge or Yorm could have like less, well, like Yorm, for example, we can make it like a little bit less gimmicky.
That's another thing
So
too. I
we
don't like
could
the gimmick
still,
fights.
yeah, we could still kind of have like the Storm Ruler, but like when you're just spamming Storm Ruler, it's like, oh, okay, well, there we go, I
I think
win.
Yorm. I think a
But
cool idea for Yorm. Sorry if you don't mind me interrupting.
yeah, go ahead.
But a cool idea for like Yorm, I think, would be like a kind of similar to a Dragon God situation from Demon Souls. Not like super gimmick like that, but like I'm thinking you go around the arena and you have to like find places to use the Storm Ruler or not.
Yeah,
I feel like that makes more sense for like a giant itself instead of just like, oh, how
yeah,
do I beat him? Wind. And don't even get me started on the Storm Ruler. I hate
win.
that weapon. That's I
Yeah,
hate the Storm Ruler.
and personally, like Aldridge, and I mean, he is a spammy. I'd give like Aldridge at least like another 3, 4 attacks, so he's not
Honestly,
just going and hitting the same like three that he uses,
yeah,
because like he's very spammy, as we all know.
yeah. Another thing I would change to also voice crack. Jesus Christ. Another thing I would change is just small details. I think like an example, like when you enter to go see Emma to get the banner before Vort, maybe like see
Yeah,
Dancer hang from the ceiling or something. Um, like
yeah,
these like those are the changes that I think worked a lot in Dark Souls One, like being able to see the demon centipede the from the demon ruins or whatnot,
yeah.
and just other things. It's those small things that I think makes a lot of the game work. Um,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think you need them, but I think it adds a little bit more flavor and whatnot.
Yeah, the super small things that like it's like the what's the analogy? Like the small things in the bigger picture or something. Something like
Whatever,
that. I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah, they definitely all correlates together, and if you don't have not saying Dark Souls 3 doesn't have those moments, there's some, but like out of the things that we have seen, there could definitely be more room for putting those types of things in.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you're not gonna notice it on your first playthrough, but like
Yeah.
once you play through the game more and you start realizing that, I think that's when I think you appreciate it more and more. And I think that's when it matters too.
Yeah, when you can go and redo it and you're like, "Whoa, this is different," or "Oh, I didn't notice that for the first time." That's how you know it's good writing, good game design, and everything of that nature.
Yeah.
All right. So, here I have it's a difficult type of question. You could use whether any of the Dark Souls, Soulsborne type of games to help you with your quest. But if there was a Dark Souls 4,
Hmm.
what would you want? Would you want what type of NPCs, locations, bosses you think should return or should be as an Easter egg or like main game type of deal. Like, you know how in Dark Souls 1 there's Anor Londo, in Dark Souls 3 there's Anor Londo.
Yeah.
Didn't know if like it was going to be a main thing or just like a small Easter
I
egg.
would like to
What would
say
you put?
first before I do anything like that, I would like to say I would like to see a return to the slower style, the slower pace of Dark Souls 1 and 2. It cuts a lot of the flashiness out of a lot of the fights, I will admit, but it gives it, I think that works in the benefit because that's kind of forcing you to explore areas more and not just running through them.
Yeah.
Um, because in Dark Souls 1, you know, you can run through the areas if you know what you're doing, but you're gonna get if you're doing it just like normal, you're gonna get held up at choke points and whatnot. So the slower style I think fits the game better. So I would like to see the slower style return first.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like Dark Souls 1 or 2 slow, but just something a little like tamer and not as
Yeah.
like
Instead of the
floaty.
just the constant barrage.
Yeah, which surely would impact the later installment of the From Software franchise. Either way, but
Well,
to talk about like areas and like Easter eggs and whatnot, um, I don't know if I would like to like see a bunch of like new areas like show up or like not sorry like new areas being like the old areas like Anor Londo is what I mean. Sorry,
yeah.
I don't know if I'd like to see that like directly. And if they did do that, I would like it to be changed enough that it like warrants me like wanting to explore and see how it changed. Because obviously in Dark Souls 3, Anor Londo, you get to go through the rafters again and go through all the rooms again and whatnot. You don't just have the giant hallway.
Yeah.
Whatever. Um, bosses, I don't know if I want to see like any bosses return. Maybe like nods to them or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, maybe something to do with like Nito or something. I like Nito. I don't know. maybe
Nito is cool.
maybe see him at like some point. I mean, there's a lot of Dark Souls 1 locations that I think would be cool to go through again. Um, that aren't in Orlando. That if they
Yeah.
like better like created, did it better like New Londo, I think if they like open that area up bunch more. Or maybe gave us a better way to explore Islith. I think I would be down for that because I'm Islith's #1 fan. I'll say that. I uh I have an Islith picture above my bed and whatnot. No, I don't. I wish, but um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not too big on that. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts. It is a complicated question.
Yeah, I've put a little bit of thought into it, and some of the things that like I think would work. For example, if like Dark Souls 4, right? If you made not like a Majula hub, but like you know how Majula in Dark Souls 2 is, how you can just kind of choose your directions.
Yeah,
So I think if Dark Souls 4 started at the like a bonfire like Majula and like spread out, that'd be cool. And then like one of the sections would be ethereal, like the ethereal, but instead of it being like, oh look, it's the same ethereal, like it's like completely destroyed by like one of the Lords of Cinder of whatever in Dark Souls 4. But like if it was completely destroyed, vines over, like it was abandoned, and there's like not too many enemies, but just like people that are just scared to be there.
yeah,
Like that would be something to see because you're like, whoa, this place was not too. It was good before, and now it's completely destroyed. Who did this?
yeah.
Um,
Something that actually ties in and makes sense. Yeah, I get what you mean there.
yeah. And then like maybe like I'd put some like other Easter eggs, like maybe like some paintings on the wall of maybe old
Yeah,
bosses or like folklore. That would probably work.
or
Um,
like maybe like in
but
like certain castles that have all the Lords of Cinder or
yeah,
whatever because it's like a legend or whatnot.
like you just have like the thrones or something like that. I could see that 100% working. Um, another idea that I had, you were talking about Nito. I actually was thinking about having I like how I say having. I'm not gonna make this game. I'm just giving
Why
out
not?
ideas.
It would go
But I will
so
say
cool.
If you are gonna use this, give me 90% of the profits,
Give me
please, please
royalty
and thank you.
checks, please. Send it to
Uh,
Dringlit Castle at 40872 Lane. That's
that's
my
true.
address. Send loyalty checks to me there.
Yeah, you better send it to her, or we're gonna sue you for at least $4.
I'll storm rule
Um,
you.
but Nito, right? Nito
Yeah.
is like made out of like bones, right? So,
No, he's
so what I was
not.
thinking is,
You crazy?
what?
He's made of
He's made out of
calcium.
love and friendship. Love and friendship. Uh,
He's made of cookies and
but
cream.
but like he's like a very big figure, and like obviously he's like made out of skulls and everything. So what I was thinking is kind of like like for example Ludwig from Bloodborne. He's like all mangled and whatnot. So like
Hmm.
you take, it doesn't have to be all of the bosses, just like maybe little nods, like maybe like Gundir's head, or but like it should be mangled. So like Nito would be mangled, and like inside of his little things you could see like
Yeah.
maybe Dancer's long arm or Osiris's tail.
I,
Just
I I
super
think
small things.
I think that would be pretty cool. I think like a maybe like an idea of someone like trying to become a Lord of Cinder or not, and like
Oh yeah.
trying to like force themselves to be. I
Yeah.
think that would
I,
be
I I could
pretty cool.
I could definitely see like not not like Gideon, but like if we had somebody that would like, I don't know, be consumed by themselves in some capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that with like Osiris, or not Osiris, Artorias. He got consumed by the darkness, and so did the Abyss Watchers and everything. But like, just imagine we have like, oh, look, it's an NPC who's been following us on our quest. They're also trying to do this hidden type of thing, and then at the end of the game, like, not the final boss, but like the leading up to it, they are like, their mind gets completely like taken over, and they like transform into a big beast of flesh,
Yeah.
like the One Reborn or something. Like that would like, I feel like I'd be like, what the hell is going on? Like right at the end. So
Yeah, that would be pretty
yeah, that's
cool.
probably what I would do. Just one little dude, and they just like transforms, and like, gosh, I could just imagine they could cook. They could cook with that. I think they've, well, I mean, they kind of did that with the Puss of Man. They whatever those things are.
Yeah.
But anyways, that is all I have for the day. It actually wasn't that long. I think it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't know. I can't do
We've been
math.
recording for 50 minutes.
Oh, close enough.
Yeah, thank you all
Well,
for watching. I'll be here next week with your average splunker. Thank you for appearing on the show, Silly. I really appreciate it. Um,
oh yeah, you just
you were a
take my channel
fantastic
while you're at it.
guest. Yeah, I'll be taking over the channel. YouTube is paying me the big bucks to do this. Also, I'll thank you to our sponsor, Dollar Shave Club. Thank you for the sponsor. It really helped a lot. You can get the new
I
Lawnmower
wish.
Pro 2.0 Pro or whatever the fuck it's called. If you use the code Silly is kicked off the show 20 for 20% off on your next order. Thank you again, Dollar Shave Club. And we'll see you next week.
Yep, definitely true. And with that, I shall see all of you in the next one. Adios.